good evening or morning or whatever you want to call this. For me, it's late in the evening. It's 11:33 p.m. on a Friday night, which is when I start to record some videos. It's as good a time as any. I have here a drum. It's a oval-shaped drum in plan view. It also has a bit of dust on it. I just want to remove that dust. Redistribute it through my apartment somewhere. I'm not a fanatic of dusting. What this is a Crown Royal, but not just a regular Crown Royal. This is a Noble Collection Crown Royal that's been, I think, finished. French oak cask finished. So that might be interesting. It doesn't say which French oak cask, but maybe it does say something on the blurb in the back here. Maybe it will give us more information. But first, what I'm going to do is, whoa, fancy. It even has a baggie. Look at that. It has the baggie and a thing to tie it and a great big looking cork on it. I'm going to pour me a dram after getting this open, and then I'm going to read what's on the box. I don't know if there's much on the bottle itself. There's the bottle. There's a little bit of writing, but not a whole bunch. Oh, it probably has a lot of caramel coloring on it because it looks kind of dark. And I believe it's 40% ABV. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Yep, 750 mils, 40% ABV. Predictable, basic Canadian whiskey, but this one, well, it's been French oak cask finished, and it might have some more age to it than it's got a, it's got a fancy seal on it here, and it's got these plastic things to pull off. Let's get to the cork, which is a fancy one, topped with rosewood or something. This seal is getting unstuck from it. Yeah, anyway. Get the last of this plastic off of here. This would make a great bottle for an infinity, just because of the heftiness and the shape of it. It's a good infinity bottle. And you see that some of that plastic or some of that sticker, that seal sticker gets stuck to there, and it's not coming. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to get it all off. I'm just going to pop the cork. Oh, it's got some tightness to it. Not bad. Composite cork. And seeing as it's a Crown Royal whiskey, I have to put it in a Canadian Club glass, just because. Anyway. Yeah, it's like putting a AC Delco battery in a Ford truck. Ooh, that's going to go in the infinity bottle as well, as they all do. Well, while we let that open up, I'm going to read what it says on here for you, so that we have an idea what it is that we're getting. Look at the color of that purple. Okay. The Crown Royal Noble Collection is a limited annual releases that celebrates the skilled craftsmanship of our distillers and blenders and their dedication to the art of creating extraordinary whiskeys. This fourth expression in the Noble Collection showcases our Crown Royal Fine Deluxe whiskey, the standard of excellence for Canadian whiskey, finished in new French oak casks. The result is a captivating new character that is still unmistakably Crown Royal. Now, there were 3 other Noble Collection releases I never saw in Saw them. They must be quite limited. It says limited release, so maybe they aren't distributed very far and wide. Or maybe they are like distributed to one store in every city, and I just happened to stumble upon this one when I went into a store that I don't usually go to. Okay, our rare oak is sourced from the renowned Vosges region in France, known for its meticulously manicured forests and ideal climate that create the straightest and tightest grain. Once harvested, the oak is open air seasoned for 2 years to transform the wood and set the stage for the final two-step fire toasting. These precisely toasted new French oak barrels allow us to impart our iconic blended Canadian whiskey with rich dark notes of caramel, vanilla, fruit, along with body and structure that can only be achieved through French oak. We are honored to share this exceptional whiskey, and we hope to you enjoy it. We certainly had fun creating it. Product of Crown Royal Distilling Company, imported by the Crown Royal Company, Norwalk, Connecticut. That's funny because it's a Canadian whiskey and I'm in Canada. What does Norwalk, Connecticut have to do with it? Maybe this was intended for the U.S. market. That's another possibility. This might be one of those Canadian whiskeys that was not meant for the Canadian market, but managed to sneak into one of our stores somehow. That's interesting. Very interesting. On the front of the side it says, Crown Royal Fine Deluxe finished in French oak casks. And that is it. There's no French on the tin or on the tube, which is very interesting. So this is probably intended for the U.S. market and not for sale in Canada. It's interesting how these things sort of manage to sneak through somehow. Well, let's give her a taste, or a nose first. Yeah, nothing surprising here. Smells like a Canadian whiskey with corn and rye notes. Vanilla, yes. But then there's something spicy besides that, and I'm sure that's the virgin French oak finishing. Yes, spicy. That spicy isn't usually there in Canadian whiskey. Well, not a regular Canadian whiskey. Something like the Crown Royal XR. What did I pay for this marvel of extreme presentation with its fancy bottle and fancy baggie? Yeah, here we go. $105.09, $5.25 in liquor tax, and $10.50 in no, it was $5.25 in goods and services tax and $10.50 in alcohol tax or liquor tax. Total $120.84. Yep, $120.84. So I got $1.15 back because we don't have pennies. Because I gave them $22. See if we can detect any legs that this thing might be standing on. Thin and fast. They race right down. Although there are some secondaries forming, they race right down too. There we go. Yeah. I'm enjoying that spicy note that's on top of the typical Canadian nose that you'd normally get out of something like this. It doesn't say for how long it was finished in these virgin French casks. And it doesn't say how old this was before it was finished. It just says it's a limited release. Yeah, it's not too complex. There's those Canadian vanilla, rye, corn, but the overcoat is French oak, spicy French oak. Let's see what it tastes like. Quite interesting. I'm getting that very smooth vanilla and rye kind of Canadian whiskey that you always get. It's a little bit grassy notes. Very smooth, slippery, alkaline vanilla, caramel, all the good things of a Canadian whiskey with that hint of rye, but it's kind of hard to pull the hint of rye away from the finish of the French oak, because the French oak is giving it all a spicy overcoat, and that spice is all over. It's all over my mouth. It's sticking to everything in there. It's still spicy. Now the vanilla and caramel and I guess the rye note, which is kind of mixed with that barrel finish, is fading, and the finish is surprisingly long. It's spicy. It's still spicy from that French oak. Yeah, virgin French oak. It's spicy and a little bit sweet, and it's drying. It's drying to come to a finish, but it's hanging on. Surprisingly, for a 40% ABV whiskey, this is hanging on quite well. That was dinner. I had a late dinner because I slept in tonight. I got to sleep around noon. I woke up around 9 p.m. and I puttered for a bit and had dinner and went through some email, and now I'm doing this. Yeah. So for my first whiskey of the night, starting at 40%, and coming in with that spicy finish, it's still hanging on. I'm still getting hints of spice stuck to the sides of my mouth. Of course, it's fading, but it's still there. This is probably the longest finish of a Canadian whiskey I've ever experienced. It's still there, even though it was done by using French oak. Do it again. See if I get in. It's not very complex. It's straightforward. Once again, there's that slippery alkaline smoothness with caramel and vanilla that want to just slide down the throat. And once they've done that sliding, as soon as they've done that sliding, that long, spicy French oak finish coats the mouth. As soon as I swallow it, then there's the coating that's left behind. And it hangs on and hangs on and hangs on. If you like spicy, along with your smooth and low ABV, this one is a winner. I think the spices from the virgin French oak make up for the intensity that you would get in something with a higher ABV. This does not need a higher ABV. This is fine the way it is. With a higher ABV, it would be maybe even more spicy and too spicy, but this is just right. For some, it would be too spicy. Yes, if you like to drink your Canadian whiskeys, unadulterated and like a real Canadian whiskey, this is gonna maybe seem a little too spicy for your liking. But for someone who's more into more complex whiskeys, this is more complex than a regular Canadian whiskey. But that complexity is with the spice, and it's kind of a one trick. It's that spiciness, that spicy overcoat. That's the one trick that this whiskey has. You won't get any other nosing or flavor notes out of it. Yeah, it smells pretty good. And when you nose it, that's a prelude to what you're going to get in the glass. Cheers.
Foodquig.
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 Yeah.